Okay, so before we actually start session, let me introduce you what actually DSC is. Okay, so DSC is the Developer Student Club in our university campus. So it's like a community of students, for students. So what we do in DSC is we actually encourage fellow students through events or workshops or meetups, so that we can learn together in the community, so we can guide each other and also help each other learn and grow. So that's our DSC community in our campus. That's the Developer Student Club. Okay, so let's begin the session right now. So Developer Student Club SIT Lonavala presents a session on getting started with web development. So before starting our session, let me introduce myself. I am Rutik Wankhade. I am the DSC SIT web club Developer Student Club team member. My interest of domain is mostly web technologies, in that front-end development. I have done a few cool projects in it, and I love making stuff. So this session is all about getting started with web development. So first, we will just get a quick overview of what actually web development is, or what are the different aspects of web development. So let's, like, there is front-end development, there is back-end development, there is full stack development. So we'll see, just get a quick overview of what are these. So like front-end is basically the user interface that we see. Like if you open a website or you open a web app, so all you see the interaction, like all the buttons, all the text, all the images, all whatever you interact with is the user interface. That is the part of the front end part. So the technologies we use in front end are like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Then there are CSS libraries like Bootstrap, and then there comes like frameworks and libraries like React, Vue, Angular. So that all comes in the front end part. The back end part is basically the server side part. So like if there is a form in a website, so if you write all the information and you send, so what happens, the data you type will go to server. It will be stored somewhere, or it will perform some operations on it. So that part comes in the backend. So I'm just giving a brief idea about what backend and frontend is. So in the backend, mostly there is like PHP, with the JavaScript ecosystem is evolving so much that now Node.js is there. Also there are frameworks like with Python, there is Django framework. Like with PHP, I guess there is Laravel framework also. So these kind of technologies are used in backend. And then there comes the full stack. So full stack is basically the jack of all trades. Like full stack covers all the front end as well as the back end part. So the person is who's doing full stack development, he has to understand all the aspects of front end development, like the UI and all, and also the back end also. Okay, so if you might have heard about the MERN stack, that is MongoDB, Express, React, and Node. So that is like a complete full stack tech. Okay, so so we are not going to dive deep in all these things. So as this is the first session, so I tried to make it very beginner friendly and very simple. So this session is going to cover very basic aspects of web development. So let's move to the next part. Okay, so let's see what we are going to learn in this session. Okay, so here is the roadmap of our session. So the first thing we will do is learn enough HTML to get started. So why enough HTML? Why I said enough HTML is because like there is a lot of stuff in HTML and we don't want to learn all the stuff. We will just learn enough so that we can create something with it. Okay, so like we will learn enough to get started us. Okay, so then the next thing we will do is we will learn some CSS and we'll play a little bit with it. Then we'll create a web page with what we learn. So we will create a portfolio site, which is kind of really good, really nice site we will create. Okay, and then we will deploy ourselves and host it for free. So it's kind of a very beginner friendly. I will start with all the basics. I will cover the basics, and we'll have fun. Okay, so this is going to be a really nice session. Okay, so let's move forward. Okay, so let's understand first as this session is about front end development, which is will cover HTML and CSS. So let's understand the basic building blocks of the web of a web page. So we can understand the basic building blocks of web page with simple analogy of human body. So if you see, like there is a bone structure here, skeleton, there are veins and brains, and there is the outer body. So if you compare a web page with a human body, you see the skeleton is actually the bone skeleton is actually the HTML. So HTML is like the basic structure of a web page. Okay, so what CSS is like the skin, the colors, the clothes we wear. So everything that makes us attractive or appealing, that is CSS. Okay, then comes the JavaScript. So JavaScript is like the brain of the web page, like it makes the brain, the vein, the heart, everything. So it makes the web page alive. Okay, so with HTML, CSS you can do animations and stuff, but that will be just limited to static part. So with JavaScript we can create dynamic web pages, so we can interact with these all and all. Okay, so we will not look into JavaScript in this session, but in further sessions we might. So let's move. Okay, so let's start with HTML. So what actually is HTML? Okay, so HTML is, we all know it's a hypertext markup language, but what it does, it describes the structure of the document. Okay, so like the whole structure of the document is described using HTML. So it's a markup language which has some kind of tags which we will learn in this session. So all these tags combined together in a specified format. So there is a structure. So what HTML is, it creates that structure. So this is just a simple HTML. So, okay, so we learn what HTML is, but here is something really good. So what HTML is not. Okay, so you might have seen this famous HTML is a programming language meme, which is kind of really funny. I really like that meme, that's why I added it. Okay, so what this is, that HTML is not a programming language. Okay, so you know, like programming languages, what programming languages do, they can process data, they can make decisions, they can save data. Okay, but HTML cannot do that, so it's not a programming language, we all know. Okay, so what it is actually, so what HTML is, it's a markup language. So what markup language does, it describes the content, like it describes the content so that the browser manipulates it. So if we consider if you say I want to show a heading, okay, so I will just enclose my content in the h1 tag or the heading tag, and that will be displayed in the browser. So the same content will be displayed as a heading in the browser. So that's what markup languages actually do. So HTML is the most popular markup language we know. Okay, so it's not a programming language, it's a markup language. Then there you might ask that why we are going to learn HTML. Okay, what's the point of learning HTML? So see, like HTML, CSS, these are like the fundamentals of web development. Okay, so if you want to dive deep into web development, if you want to create websites, you want to create web apps, if you want to move forward into a backend and everything, so you need to understand fundamentals first, right? So that's what it is. So it's like the first step in the world of development. Okay, so that's why we are learning it. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Okay, so before we actually start writing code, okay, wait a minute. Okay, so before we actually start writing code, we will understand what HTML elements are. Okay, so if you see, this is an HTML element. Okay, so what HTML element is, it is defined by a start tag. So if you see, this is a start tag, and then there is end tag, and in between those tags there is the content. So the tag is enclosed in angle brackets, the start tag, and end tag is also enclosed in angle brackets, but there is a forward slash. Okay, so this whole is an HTML element, and this is HTML tag, this is the content. Okay, so let me just open the VS Code. Okay, I'll just open a VS Code, which is my favorite code editor, which we'll be using in this session. Okay, so I hope okay, so this is Visual Studio Code. Most developers use this because it is lightweight and it has a lots of advantages of using this. We will understand why we use VS Code later on. Okay, if you want to download VS Code, okay, no, I opened the wrong tab. Okay, so you can download your Visual Studio Code from downloading VS Code is using VS Code because it provides a lot of features which we will know. Okay, so you can download Visual Code from here. So it's for Windows, for Mac, for everything. Okay, so that's not the issue. Let's open a Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I have opened the Visual Studio Code. So what we will do, we will just create a new folder first. Okay, so what I am going to do, I am going to create a new folder here. Okay, so we'll just say session. Okay, so on the desktop I have created a session folder, and I will open folder on the desktop, and I will open the session folder. Okay, so now VS Code will open a folder. Okay, so I will just give you a quick overview of VS Code. So here you can download all the extensions and all. You can search. There are so many features that you will like about VS Code. So the first feature I will tell you here right now, which is okay, before that we were talking about the HTML element. Okay, so first let me create an HTML file. So we will create HTML file. So HTML files are the extension is .html. So HTML or HTML also works, but we prefer HTML. So I will create an index.html file. So why index? Because basically the main page, the home page is actually the index page. So that's why we name it index. So let's see. Okay, so let me just, I will show you a really nice thing, which is live server preview. Okay, so I downloaded this extension, which is live server preview. What it does, it actually opens the live server right in the Visual Studio Code. Okay, it will take some time. Till that you will write an tag. So let's say I start h1 and say hello. Okay, hello. I don't know if it works or not. It will not work, I guess, because I haven't created an HTML document. Okay, so if you see, this is an HTML element. Okay, so this is just an example of HTML element. So we can't just write okay, so why we can't see this here? Because we can't just write random HTML elements and expect to display on the browser or on this live server. So there is a basic structure of an HTML document. Okay, so what is the structure? Let's see. Okay, so HTML document structure. So if you see, the whole HTML document structure is enclosed in this HTML tag. So we understood what tags are. So this is a HTML tag, which is the root element of any HTML document. So this is the root tag. Then this HTML tag. Then there is a head part. So head part is basically which contains like if you want to add some CSS file, so you can add link to it. Also you can add description about your web page. So it's everything about web about the document. Okay, so it consists the information about the document. So then comes the body part. So body part is actually the visible part, like whatever we see on the web will be in the body part. Okay, So for let's say okay, let's compare this with this. Like if you consider this image as an HTML document, you see the head is very small. Why? Because it will not contain a lot of stuff, that's why it is small. And then the body, the main content will be inside the body. So this is the basic structure. So this is how the HTML document structure is. Okay, so let me show you a really nice trick in VS Code, which is emit. So what emit is? Emit is actually a emit. Okay, so emit is actually a plugin which VS Code has an inbuilt. So what it like improves your like it will help you write code faster. Like if I say okay, so I'm going to create a HTML structure here, so I will just write HTML and just say enter, and if you see here, automatically an HTML structure is created. Okay, so I didn't have to write, I had to write all this stuff. Okay, so like document doc type HTML, HTML lang in, head tag, body tag, HTML. So the basic structure, if you see here, so all this structure is created right now. Okay, I opened the wrong VS Code. Okay, so let me first explain all this is. So the first thing here we see, this is the doc type HTML. So this is something which we need to write at the first line of the document. Why? Because it displays that it is an HTML file document. So earlier when there were earlier versions of the HTML, they were like a very messy sentence used to be there, but now it if you just type angle brackets and then this and then doc type HTML, so it will say that this is an HTML document. Okay, HTML5 document. Then this is the root element, that is the HTML tag. So here it has a language equals to en stands for English. So this is the language specification. If you are using another languages, so you can also, like, this is the language code which you need to write. Even if you don't write, it works, but it's best to write. Okay, then comes the head tag. So head tag contains all the meta information, like the information about the page. Like if we see here, it's a meta tag which has a character set is equal to UTF-8. So what character set UTF-8 is? So it's like we all know, like there are different characters, like you must have heard about ASCII characters. Okay, so there are like A for 95, like something like that. So what UTF-8 is also character set, so which consists all the characters which we use in the HTML. So it will consist all the characters, so that's why we have included this line here. Okay, then there comes the viewport tag. So viewport tag is very important for the responsiveness of our web page. So why we have to add this, we will understand it when we will write some code. We will display something and then we will understand how it's going to help us. Okay, then there is a title tag. So if you see, there is a pattern, so all the tags are look similar. Okay, so this is an opening tag, this is closing tag. So just the tag name differs. The tag name sometimes the tag name itself describes like what it is. Okay, so like it's a title tag, so it will be the title of the document. So if you see here, this is the getting started with HTML CSS, so this is the title. So if I write something like, okay, so I will change it to session. So if you open this in a browser, you will see. Okay, let me just open it. Okay, Google and File Explorer, and I will open it in the browser rather than on this. Okay, so I open it here. Now you see this session. So this is, you can see here is session, so this is the title. Okay, so that's, and then there is the body, which is the main code we will write here, and HTML closing tag. So that's enough with the basic. I guess we'll start our session, start writing actual code right now. Okay, so let's see all the things one by one. Okay, so first thing is the comments. Okay, so so how do you write comments in HTML? So HTML comments, you write HTML in comments. So this is a comment. Okay, so this is how we write a comment in HTML. So there is a shortcut in VS Code, like I just need to select this and I just need to press Ctrl and slash, it will convert into comment. So this is a comment, this is how you write the comment. So this code will not appear in the browser or anywhere else, this is just for our understanding. Okay, so let's see another tag. So there comes the heading tags. Okay, so in HTML there are basically 6 heading tags. H1 is the highest and H6 is the lowest. So the first tag we'll see. Okay, so this is heading. Okay, so our extension is not working, I guess, so I'll just try to open it again. Okay, so this is working right now. Okay, this is good. So in HTML there are like 6 types of heading. So H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6 you can use as per your convenience. So like I will create an H2 tag. So this is also a heading. This is H2 heading. Okay, so you see these are all so when I write H1, H2, so I will write in descending order. So you will see how the font size or everything, it is getting smaller and smaller. Also there is like, if I want to write in VS Code, even if I write H3 here and press enter, then H3 tag will create. So that's why I love VS Code so much. So this is heading 3. Okay, let's then there is H4, which is heading 4. So this is just the basic stuff. You might find a little bit boring, but this is very important. Okay, if you are just getting started with development, you need to understand the fundamentals. Okay, then H5 is there. Okay, I'm making a little mess here, sorry about that. Okay, so H5, this is heading 5, and then there is H6 also. So this is heading 6. If you see, there are 6 headings. So starting from H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. So we can use all this. So these all has a different font sizes, different font weights and all. So okay, first, so I'll just comment down everything what we are going to learn here sequentially. Okay, so we just learn about headings, so I will just comment it down. Okay, so we just learn heading. Then the next thing is the paragraphs. Okay, so the next tag is paragraph tag is simply a p tag. So if you just write p, this is a paragraph tag. So I will say that this is a paragraph. Okay, so what's different about paragraph, that every time you get a new paragraph tag, it will start on the next line. Okay, here also these all H1, H2, H3, H4, these are starting on the next line. Even if I put it here, even this won't change at all. Okay, because why? Because these are the inline elements. Okay, so these are not inline elements, these are block level elements. That's why they open, you can see them on the next line. Okay, so this is a paragraph. Don't worry about all this is just the basic. So you might find it very simple and easy, but we'll cover all this. Okay, so this is a paragraph. So if you want to create sentences or a paragraph, you can use the p tag. Okay, it always starts on a new line every time. Then there comes the link tag. Okay, so it's not a link tag, it's anchor tag. So if you want to add links in a web page, like if you want to click the link and go to another document, then we can use the anchor tag. Wait a minute. Okay, so here comes the anchor tag. So before we learn anchor tag, we need to understand what are HTML attributes. So attributes is like the additional information about an element. Okay, so here we see, let's see an example of attributes. Here anchor tag has an attributes which is href, hypertext reference. So I can add any link here, or I can also add a document also here. Like I can, if I have about.html page, I can open it from here. Also if I have some link, okay, let's see, I have this link here. I'll copy it and I will paste it here. Okay, so okay, why we are not seeing the link here? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? Okay, I don't know what's wrong here. Let me just delete this and I'll create an anchor tag here. Oh, okay. How stupid I am. Okay, so you were right. We just created an hypertext reference of a link, like I pasted this link, but we forgot to add here the text which you want to add a link. So if you see, I just added a name link, so this is now a link. So if you open this, you might open, so this is a live server, so I don't think, okay, so open. So now the link which we opened here is open here right now. So that's the anchor tag. Okay, I will close this and I will have to start the server again. It's not a server, actually it's like a preview. So this is just simple basic stuff which will go so fast. Okay, because we want to create something, so this session won't be very long. Okay, so this is the link tag. If you want to create links, we use this anchor tag. Then what if we want to use images? Okay, if you want to add images in a web page, so what we do, we use img tag, img for image. So one thing about img tag is that it do not have a closing tag. So also if you see, this anchor tag has a closing tag, this paragraph has a closing tag, but this image tag do not have a closing tag. It has an attribute. So attribute is like attribute is like the additional information about the element. So the syntax is like, this is a property and this is the value. Okay, so the property is equals to, and in quotes we write the value. So for image we use src. So let's go to Google and search for what we should search. Let's search HTML. Okay, we will just get an HTML. Okay, HTML. Okay, we'll just open an HTML and we'll just get an image. So let's say I get this image, I will just copy the image address and I will add it here, right here. So you can see now the image is right here. Okay, so even if you want to add image from from your folder, then also you can add using, like, there are two types of URL here. The first one is this direct URL, and then there is relational URL, which is you can add it like from the folder you are in. Like if I have a image inside here, inside this session folder, I can add this also here. Okay, so this is how you add images. Then the next thing is there are different types of list we use in HTML. So let's see what list are. There are two types basically. So there are ordered list and there are unordered list. Okay, so for ordered list, the syntax is like this. So this is OL stands for ordered list. So ordered list, what ordered list is like, they are ordered like 1 2 3 4 or something, like if you add different type, then they will add into Roman. So I will add a list item here. So LI stands for list item. So I created an order list here. So let's say food. No, we're learning, so we'll use HTML. Okay, so if you see here, there is an ordered list. Okay, so I'll just copy it. We just do this all the time. We just copy paste a lot of stuff here. So if you see here, so this is an ordered list, HTML. So this is an ordered list. So you can create a list of items using the order list. This is OL for order list and LI for list item. Then there is another thing which is unordered list. So what unordered list is, basically, so if the syntax is similar, like we create a UL and then we create a list item. Okay, so let's say CSS now. Okay, I'll just copy it. Okay, so what different is unordered list, that there is no order. Like if you see here 1 2 3, but there is an order. In in unordered list there is no order, so they are just one after another. Okay, so these are few basic tags. Okay, forgot about the most important tag which we use a lot of time, which is the div tag. So what div tag is, so div tag is like a container tag, like we use it as a container. So if you have a lot of stuff inside one tag, like it's like if you want to create a different parts in the whole web page. So like I want to combine this order list and non-order list separately. Okay, so what I will do, I will just add it inside. Okay, I will just add it inside a div tag. So okay, I made a mistake here. Okay, so now this is a div tag. So what we do div tag, we use it as a container. So you'll understand why we use div tags when we will move to CSS, because that's where we use it a lot. Okay, so okay, it's used as a container. It's like it, you not see it here, but it is a container. There is a container, but you can't see it right now because there are no properties to it, so that's why. Okay, so this is just the basic HTML which we covered here. So this is enough for us to get started. Okay, let's back to. Okay, there is one element we forgot to add. Okay, there is another element which is called as the input element. So you might see forms in a forms in website. So those are the input elements. So input elements are basically like input tag, which is also do not have a closing tag. Okay, so if you see, this is an input. Okay, so input so right now this is type of is equals to type is text, so that's why it is just a box. So but what if we change? So there are different types of inputs. Okay, so like if we change the type to radio, so what it will do, it will create a radio button. If you see here, okay, if you see, this is a radio button, you can click it. So in the forms you can see this a lot. I don't know if it is visible or not because of this server's thing. There is another type which is the checkbox. So these are all the input elements with different types. You just need to change the type, and so this is a checkbox. You can click it, you can unclick it, you can select this, you can not select this. Okay, so these are three basic stuff. There are also few more, like if you want to add a date picker here, so you can change it to date, or if you want to email, then you can change to email. So there are different types. So these are just the basic types. Okay, so there is another last element which we want to cover is the select element. So what select element does, you might have seen in the form, like you have to select your city, your age, or anything like that. So that's what it is, a select element. So the select element syntax is like you add a select tag, in that you create option tag. So here I say HTML. Okay, we will use, because our session is all about that, HTML and CSS. Okay, let me change here. Okay, I don't know if you are facing any lag or any issues with the stream, but don't worry, this session is being recorded, so even if you are facing some issues, I will upload it, the best version of it. So if you see, we have created here okay, let me just make it a little bit. Okay, so if you see, we have created a form type element here, which is the select element. So by default it selects the first element. So you can see here HTML, so you can see CSS, then HTML. So this is the select element. Basic stuff, this is all the basic stuff which we need to learn. Okay, but that's not enough. There are a lot of stuff, different stuff also. There are semantic tags, with the way we can add iframes, the videos and all, but that's just needed for now. Okay, so we are done with the HTML part, the basic part. So now let's move to CSS. So what CSS is? So CSS is what makes our websites look good. Okay, so it's like the cascading style sheets. So it's used to style the HTML document. Okay, so there are different ways to do that too. so we'll see that one by one, but let me just okay. So what we write some CSS rules, and we select some HTML element, we write some CSS rule, and boom, it will work. Okay, so what it does, it tells browser to display an HTML element in a certain way. So if you just create an H1 element, and if you want to increase this fonts, if you use CSS. Okay, syntax is basically, so you can see here it is a CSS syntax, and here it is what it means. So here the P is a paragraph term. Okay, so here P is the selector. So what is selector? So selector is something like if you want to add some styling to HTML element, we need to specify like to what we are adding this stuff. Okay, so there are so many different tags out there in our document, so what we want to change, so that's why this CSS selector comes in the picture. So this P is a P tag, so here P tag is a selector. So there are different types of selector, we will just see in a moment, but for now let's understand that this is a P tag. So this is a selector, then there is a property and value. So so this is a syntax for CSS rule. We add a property, so there are different types of property like font size, color, background color, and a lot of different types of properties. So, and this is a value. So I wrote here the font size 20 px. So px is like the unit pixels. So, and then there is another property which is color. So I just wrote it red. So there are different types of properties which we will look in just in a moment. Okay, first we will understand. Okay, if you understand this CSS syntax, let me show you different ways to add CSS. Okay, so first thing is the first way is we add a style tag in the HTML document itself, and then we add CSS right inside that tag. Okay, so like this is a web page, so what we will create. Okay, so let's see, this is the body tag of our HTML element. So what I want, I will select the body tag. Okay, then I will open the curly braces, and then I will change the background color. I will change the background color to what say blue violet. Okay, so if you see, this is how CSS works. So this is inside the HTML document, this is not. So if your web page is small, then you can use this way, but if you see, there are a lot of like big websites, so we don't use internal styling, we use external style sheet. So we create another style sheet file, and then we'll write all our CSS inside that. So if you see, we selected the body element and we added a property. This is the property and its values. You can see this is everything is changed. Okay, so this is another first way. So next way is add CSS using the link tag. So we just add link here, then we need to add an attribute which is relation. So I will write relation is equal to, it's a style sheet file, so I will add style sheet. So this is how actually we do. Okay, then I will add a hypertext reference is equals to. Okay, so we haven't created any style.css file here, so let's just do that. So I will just create here a style.css. Okay, style.css, I have created a style.css file, so I will just add it here, style.css. Okay, and we are done. Okay, so now we don't want this style, so I will just cut this and paste it inside our style page, and you will see the same, everything is the same. Okay, so I told you that why use head tag. So we use it for link tag. You can also add different Java CSS libraries inside this tag and all. So if you see, this is how you write CSS. Okay, so we have selected an element with property and then value. Okay, so there are different types of selectors. So this is not, so what if I selected here one element? Okay, so there is only one body element. Okay, so what if there are different? So what if there are 5 different h1 elements. Okay, so I don't want everything to be same. Okay, so that's why there are different types of selectors we use in CSS. So there are basically simple selector. There are three basic selectors. Okay, so first one is element selector. So what element selector does, it selects the HTML element, okay, based on the element name itself. So if you see here, this is element selector. So I have selected the body element and I have added the property and value in the CSS. So this is the element selector, but we don't use every time element selector. Then there is another selector which is ID selector. So what ID selector is, which is the ID attribute of an HTML element to specify the element. Okay, let me show you how we do that. Okay, so let's say where we add these IDs, we add inside the starting tag. So if you see, okay, just let me show you. We will just change the image. Okay, we'll change this image. Okay, so now we have this image right here. What I will do, I will just add an ID to it. So ID is like, this is the asyntax. Okay, so I will add it. ID is I will add ID as image. Okay, you can name it anything, and then I will create an ID here, image, and then let me just reduce its height by using the CSS. So I will reduce the height to 100 px. I don't know if that works or not. Okay, so that worked. Okay, so if you can see, the height of this image has reduced. Okay, so with height the width also has reduced. That's not an issue for us. So what this ID selector does, we need to write an ID attribute. So this can be any name, and then we need to add in CSS a hashtag and then the ID name. So ID is like unique, so you can't just add this ID to another element. Okay, so it's unique, so you can have only one type of image ID inside the whole document. So if you want to change only one element, you use ID selector. But what if you want to select all, so like a lot of like I want to add styling to all these elements, let's say all these list item elements. Okay, so I can select this list item element also, but we'll do this using class selector. So what class selector is? Class selector is like, it selects the HTML element with a specific class attribute. It is similar to ID attribute, but there is a huge difference, one big difference, which is the ID attribute is unique and there can be only one ID, one unique ID. But with class you can do with lot of elements. Okay, so let's say, okay, so what I will do, I will just, you will understand why we use div tag here. Okay, so I just created here a div tag. Okay, we are running out of time, I guess. Yes, we are. Let's see how long it goes. Okay, so we have two different div tags here. You see, this is a div tag and we have here another div tag. Okay, so what I am going to do, I am going to create a class here, so which will be applied to all the both the div tags, and all the styling will be done. So how the syntax of class is, we just add dot and we just add the class name. So I will just add a dot and I will just say content. I will just name it content. Okay, you can name it anything, but just be sure that it makes sense. So what I will do, I will just change the background color here, just to show you how the class works. So now this is a class which we can add in any element. So like this div tag, I'll just add class attribute, and then I will add, you don't need to add any dot or hashtag here, you just need to add the class name. So I just added a content, and if you see this, the background of all these div tag, so if you see the div tag, this whole div tag is changed. Let's add it to this also. So I just add class is equals to content. Okay, so if you see, this also changed. Okay, so there are the three different selectors which we use. For element selector, we just select an HTML element. You see, so you see this is an element selector, see this is an id selector and this is a class selector. So these are few basic selectors. Okay, there is another selector which is, there are a lot of different selectors, but there is one called as universal selector. So what it is, you just add star and you just add curly braces, and if you write anything, you like, if I say universal selector, I will just change the font family. Okay, so what universal selector does, it adds the styling to the every element. Okay, so it's universal, I mean the name is, it suggests it's universal. So I will just set it to GOEUI, my favorite font. Okay, so if you see, all the elements has changed the font. So this is called as the universal selector. So these are all the basic selectors which we need to know in CSS. Also, if you want to comment in CSS, this has the same syntax as we write in C++. Yeah, C++. So this is how we write comment in CSS. Okay, so you can use the same shortcuts to write the comments also. Okay, so we just understood the basic like this. So like there are like these properties you see, like there is a height, there is width, there is background color, font family. There is like a list of all these properties. Okay, so we will not cover all this, we will just see one by one when we will need it. Okay, so let's see few more properties. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so the properties about which are for text. Okay, there's another property which is text align. Okay, so I have this content tag, content class to this element and this element. Okay, so this is a div tag, that's why this is a div element, and this is also a div. Okay, so what I will write is add the content to center. So what it will do, it will add the content, it will say it will create a margin on the both sides, and it will the content will be centered. Okay, so if you write center, it will write in center. If you write right, so the content will go to right. Okay, you can see here. So this is a text align property. Also, like if you want to change the font. Okay, so these are H1 element, these are different fonts, but what if you want to change the font? Let's see if you can do that. So there is a property which is font size, so I will set to 20px. I hope this works. Okay, this isn't working on the H1, H2, H3, H4 element, but this worked for the this element. Okay, so why this worked? Because we didn't specify it. We added this class to the whole document, not to each individual element. Okay, so if we just select the list item, let's see if we can do that. So I will just use element selector. I will just create a list, select the list item, and then we will add font size to, let's increase it to 25. If you see, font size has increased. Okay, so this is another property which is font size. You can change this values to anything. Okay, so these are the basic properties. Okay, so the next thing we want to learn is the box model in CSS. So CSS box model is very important. Okay, so what CSS has is that every CSS element has a box around it, like an imaginary box around it. So what this box tells us, like if you say this is an element, so consider this an any element, let's say it's a div tag. So every element has a box around it. Okay, so this is a box around it. So okay, we can't see anything right here because all those values are like 0. Like every box has a certain padding, a certain amount of border, then there is margin. So what border, margin, padding are, you'll see. So if you see, this is the border. Okay, so there's a property which is border. I can add right here to some element here. Okay, if you want to. Okay, so let's add a border to it. Okay, so there is a property called as a border. So what it takes the type of border what we want. So I said solid, and the like width, so I just 5px. Okay, so this is the border. So there was a border already, but it has value 0, that's why we didn't saw that. Okay, so this is the border, then this is the padding. If you see, the space between the element and inside the border. So from this border to this element, all this space is the padding. Okay, so that's the difference between padding and margin, is that the padding is from padding is the space between the element and the border. So the inside space is the padding, and the space outside the border is the margin. Okay, so let's see. So if you see, let me just add some padding to it. Okay, so you'll understand what padding is. So I'll just add padding of 20 px here. So if you see, there is a space. Okay, earlier there was no space around here, but now there is a space inside this element. Okay, so from the border there is some space left here, so that is the padding. Okay, so now what margin is? Margin is the space outside the border. So if I say I will add the margin to like 40 px so that you can see it. Okay, so now the space outside this border is the margin. Okay, so inside space is the padding. You can set it to any value. Outside the border it is the margin. So this is the box model. Actually, this is how the CSS elements are. Okay, so you understood the box model, what's padding, what's margin, and all that stuff. Okay, let's move forward to, okay, so I guess we are done. Okay, so this is all the basics we needed to learn and understand. So we learned HTML, what HTML body structure is, all the HTML, few simple basic HTML elements and tags. Then we learned CSS, how to add CSS in an HTML document. We learned all the basic properties. Okay, so that's enough for, and now let's start build something. Okay, now let's build something. So now we'll actually write the code. Okay, so we just covered few basic parts which we needed to, so that we can create something with it. Okay, so I will just open the VS Code. Okay, so now what I will do, I will just create, okay, so I have a folder here called portfolio. Okay, so in the portfolio I have an image which will be, this is my image which will be used in this site. So we are done with this, all the basic stuff which we needed to learn. So what I will just open another folder, okay, which is the portfolio. Okay, so it's time to build something, that's why we are doing this. So I have explained all the basic stuff we needed to understand. So now we will write actual code. So if now if something new comes up, I will explain it to you, don't worry. So I'll just create an index.html file. Okay, I will just use the emit, and let's add the title to portfolio. Okay, typos. Okay, portfolio. Then let's add something first so that we know that it's working. Okay, hi. Okay, then I will open it in the browser. We won't use the server because the server actually zooms the content, so we won't be able to see correctly. So okay, so this is working now. We have here hi here. Okay, so before we actually start building the site, we need to think like what we are going to build. Okay, so every time you want to create something, house, if it is small or big or anything, a website or anything, you first should create a design of it. Okay, so I have created a prototype which is this. So this is what we will build. I create a simple prototype of what we are going to build here. Okay, so this will be our navbar. I will create a little navbar where I will add a few links. Then we will add a card type element. Okay, so all we will be create a reusable classes, and we will create few cards. Then I will add a profile picture here. Then I will add some description, and we will add links to our profiles like LinkedIn, GitHub, all that stuff. Then we will add some about here. Then we will create here elements for like skills. Then we will create few containers for the projects and all, and then we will have a simple form element which will be like a newsletter. Okay, so this will, and then there is a footer also. So this will, so creating this will cover all the basics we learned till now. Okay, so let's start writing our code. Okay, so I have opened the Visual Studio Code here. Let me just check if it's working or not. The internet is working fine. Oh, okay, so let's start with our, okay, so let's see, we will just referring this prototype so to see what we are doing here. Okay, so first we will just create the nav. So what we will do for that, we will create a unordered list. Okay, so I will add the list items here. So let's say this is a home, then I will create another list item which is like about, and then another list item which is a link to the blog. Okay, so what I want to do, so these are, let's see if it is working. Okay, so I have to refresh it every time. Okay, so we just added the unordered list here. Okay, so these are just not lists, so we need these to be links. Okay, so I will add link tag here. I will add a hypertext reference attribute here, and then inside that, okay, wait, we will add this inside the list element. Okay, so here we can add the form. So just delete this, delete this. I'll just copy this to save our time. Okay, we don't need 4, we just need 3 links. Okay, so there is a home link, there is about link. So you can see why we are, how we are nesting all these HTML elements. Okay, so we want a list item, but the list item should be a link. That's why we added a list an anchor tag inside the list tag. Okay, so about, and then there is a blog. Okay, so let's see what happened. Okay, so nothing has changed. Why nothing has changed? Because we haven't added okay, let me just remove this. So, oh wait, why it wasn't working? Because we need to add the text inside this tag. Okay, so I might make 2 stupid mistakes like this, everybody does, but like this is a part of the learning. Okay, make mistakes and you learn. So let's see. Okay, so now all these are links. Okay, so don't worry, this will look, we will try to make it look exactly like this, not exactly like this, but we will try. Okay, so there is all the UL tags we created here. Okay, the stream is working fine. Okay, so let's just add a little bit styling to it. So I will just create a style.css file here. Okay, so you'll understand what I do here. So what I will do here, I will add a link tag here, set its relation to style sheet, and then we add the reference which is style.css. Okay, so now we have a style here, so we'll just add things one by one. Okay, so before we style this link tag, let's create a card element. Okay, so what I will create, I will just create a div tag here. Okay, so we will just, I will just add a class name to it. So class is equals to card. So this, you know, this is a class selector, we already discussed about that. And then I will create a class to, what we named it, okay, card. Okay, card card. Okay, Okay, so what we will do, okay, let me add some content inside our card. So inside our card we will add image. So add src is equals to, so now here I am using the relational URL, like I will go to images folder and then pick the profile and boom. Okay, then also I will add a paragraph tag. Okay, let's just see what happens, what we are doing. Okay, so I added the image here. Now let's create a profile in p tag which will say hi, I am Rutik. Okay, I am a content developer. Okay, just a simple line, and then we will just style our card. Okay, so we have created a div element with class as card, you can see here. Okay, the code is not imprinted, and then okay, so let's hide this. Okay, so we have created a div tag with class card, so we will just style this card. I will just change the, so you will understand the different properties which you will see here in CSS. So what this, so this is also plus point of using VS Code, like it gives you suggestions about all the different properties. So let's say, so I'm using here a different color, so I want to name it like red, green, blue, yellow. So like there are different types of formats in which you can specify color, like there is a RGB format, there is a HSL format, and there is a hex format. Okay, so I'll just type the hex value, like I have 7733 FF. Okay, it is kind of purple color. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we have created a purple color. Okay, so I don't want a purple color, I want this purple color inside the background. Okay, so I will create the body element, select, and then I will add this inside the body. So if you see now, all the body is now of this color. Okay, so you want first write HTML and then CSS, we will both do it simultaneously. Okay, so now we'll change the background color to white. Okay, so now we have created a card. So I will just, let's say I will add the width. Okay, so we will say width to 700 px maybe. Let's see. Okay, so now width is 700 px. Okay, first let's fix this image. Okay, so this is very big image. So what I will do, I will just add a class to it. So I will just add a class equals to, I will name it like a profile. Okay, so that might also work. So I will create a class here. Okay, name. So I have an image here, I set the height to 100 px. Let's see. Okay, 100 is very low, so I will set it to 150. Okay, also I will set the width to 150 px, that might work. Okay, so it's good now. Also there another property which is border radius. So what border radius does, it add like a radius, like a curve to the image or any element. Okay, so if I just say border radius, I will just add it to like 50%. So I want this image to be a circle, so that's why I want this border radius to 50%. So now the image is circle. Okay, so this is working good. Okay, so what border radius is, so it will add a curve to the image. Like let's add the border radius to the card, so you will understand what border radius does actually. So I'll just add a border radius of 5 px. Okay, so that will work. Okay, if you see there is a small curve here, so that's what border radius does. Just increase it a little bit. I will increase it to 8 px. Okay, so now it looks good. Okay, so this content is not looking good here. So what I will do, I will just add property here which is text align center. So what it will do, it will align the text inside the center. Okay, so now inside of card element, all these two elements are centered, but still if you see, this is not centered at all. Okay, so the page is not centered, so this is, we want this inside like in a center. Okay, so what we will do, we will just add a card, a margin. Okay, a margin, we'll set it to auto. So if you set it to auto, it will come inside center. So there is a margin auto, so the browser will automatically push it to the center. Okay, so these are the links. We will talk about, we'll do something about them later, but let's move to next part. So what I am going to do here, okay, so let's say I have added a paragraph here also, so I will change the paragraph styling. So I will just select the paragraph element and I will add it like font size to something like 20px maybe. So it's like okay, so that will also work. Also I want to use the same font throughout the whole body, so I will just add the font family property, which is SEGOEUI. Okay, so everywhere the font will be same. Okay, let's add some. Okay, so the image is like sticking here, also the text is, there is no space in between this, so we will just add a little bit padding to our card element. So I will just add a padding of like 20px maybe. Okay, so 20 pixels, so now it's good. Okay, so we have created a card element, we added the images, we made it circles, we added a paragraph text about this. Okay, so now let's, okay, so let's see how. Okay, so we created this part, now we will create this part. Okay, but first let's fix this UI. Okay, so what we will do is we will style the list items. Okay, so list item, so I will change it to the color to white. Okay, okay, they aren't changed. Why? Because they are also okay. So I will just say list style. Okay, so if you see there are these dots here. Okay, so we don't want these dots, so what we will do, we will add a list style type and we will set it to none. Okay, so now the dots will be gone. Okay, so dots are gone. It's okay, so rather than adding color to the list item, we will just add to the anchor tag. Okay, so that will be a better option. So I just created anchor tag, I just added a color. Okay, so let's change the font size of the list item also. So let's say font. So this is like all the things will be repeated right now. Okay, so all the properties we used, we need to use it the way we want. So I'll change the font size to 22px. Okay, but we don't want this like this, we want this like horizontally. So what I will do, I will set the UL tag, which is the root tag of other element. I will just set it to display inline. Okay, so what it will do, okay, it's not okay, we don't need to add it to UL tag, we just need to add it to the list item. So right now I added list item. Okay, so what I did here, I added a display property and set it to inline. So inline will set all in a one line. Okay, so let's see if that works or not. Okay, so it's worked right now. Yeah, so but these are very close with each other, so we'll just add margin. So I'll just add margin to 20 px. I guess that will be a lot. Okay, also okay, so that will work also. So if you see, so we are done with this part and this part. Okay, so now let's see what we can do with this part, which is the about part and the skill part. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to create the same card here again. So I will just open the index.html and I will create another div. Okay, so now here we are going to use the class selector. Okay, so now I will add the same class card here also. What it will do, it will add all the CSS properties to this element also. So I'll just create a class is equals to card. Okay, then I will add a h2 element with say about. Okay, now let's see. Okay, so we added an about us here, but there is not at all space here, so in between these cards. So I will just add a margin to a card. So margin can be there are two ways we can add all these properties. There is a standard way and there is a shorthand property. So shorthand property, what does shorthand property is actually like, we will set all the properties all at once. So if I want to add margin top, right, bottom, all, so we can add like this. Okay, so margin, okay, 20 px, then 20, then okay 30 px, then 40 px. Okay, I'm just putting random value here, then 10 px. So this is the shorthand property. So this is the top margin, this is the right margin, this is bottom margin, this is left margin. Okay, so if you see, everything has changed now, but we don't want this. Okay, so we just want the bottom margin. So I'll just add the bottom margin to 20 px. So now it will work. Okay, now it looks really nice the way we wanted it. Okay, so now here we need to write about. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. So we have created an h2. Let's create a paragraph tag. So I will write like this is my first attempt to get something with HTML and CSS. Okay, so there is another tag which is a formatting tag, which is called as a BR tag. So what BR tag does, it breaks the this is a paragraph tag, but it's okay. Let me explain it. For example, like I added this sentence, then I will add like I also like reading books. Okay, I'm just writing here random stuff. I also like reading books. So if you see, the paragraph tag we added is very big. Okay, so what if we want this sentence on a new line? So like this sentence and the rest of the sentence on the new line. So there comes the BR tag. So BR tag is, we'll add BR tag here and see, now it's on a new line. Okay, so I just added about part here. Okay, so now what we want to do, we want to add the social links. Okay, so here we will add some, after our intro we will add a social links. So I will just show you how you can do that. We can do that using font awesome icons. So I will add the font awesome icons. Let's see what font awesome icons are. Okay, so this session is going very lengthy, but doesn't matter. So what font awesome icons does, so like it's like a CSS library of icons, I guess. So it has a lot of icons which we can use inside our portfolio. So let's see how you can use them. Okay, so this looks really nice right now. Okay, so font awesome is loading here. Okay, why it's taking time now. Okay, so there are like all these different types of icons which we can use. Okay, so now internet. Okay, so these are different icons, like this. There is telegram icon, there is user circle icon, like address book icon, so all these. So we will use some icons here, like the LinkedIn icon, Twitter icon, and GitHub icon. Okay, so let's just search here. Let's search here LinkedIn. So I just searched here LinkedIn. So I got this LinkedIn icon. Okay, so this is the I tag, which is icon. Okay, so if you see here, the font awesome icons has their own CSS file which contains all these classes. That's why we can use this, but we can't just add this sentence inside our code and expect it to show. Like if you see, we want to add it here. So if I add here this, we don't see anything here. Okay, we won't see anything here. We will see nothing. Why? Because how the browser will know that we are using these classes? So we need to add the CSS file inside our index HTML file. So what I will do, I will just search for font awesome link. Okay, so let's see where we can get font awesome. Okay, on W3 Schools you might find the link. Okay, so we want, okay, so what we want here, we want a link tag where the reference will be the font awesome, which is stored in their servers, I guess. So let's wait. Okay, the internet speed is not quite good, man. I don't know, I don't even know how it is looking on the stream. Okay, so I'll just add this link. So what it will do, it will add the address inside our HTML, so that we can use. Okay, so I just added a link with relation style sheet and added this font awesome 4.7. okay, so if you see, this is a CSS file. Okay, font awesome.main.css. so now if we see, we might see the icon. Yes, we see the icon here. Okay, so let's add a few more icons also. Okay, so this is the icon. Okay, but before that, let's make it use another built-in class, which is f2x. so what it will do, it will make it bigger. Okay, so f3x, if you do f3x, it will grow to even bigger and all. So let's just copy this and I will just create 3 tags here. So we have a LinkedIn icon here, so let's add a GitHub icon maybe, and then add a Twitter icon. Okay, so yeah, we are good. Okay, but there should be a space in between them a little bit, so we will do that too. So what I will do, I will select .fa class and I will add a margin of 5px. Let's see if that works. Yes, it worked. Okay, so we added the navigation here. Okay, then we added an image, then we added a little bit intro, then we have created links. Now let's move to the next part. Okay, so we will do this part later. First let's create the projects part, then we will create the font part. Okay, we still have half an hour maybe. Okay, I hope you are like learning something new here. Okay, that was the real motto. So let's see what we can do now. Okay, so now again I will create, so I have to div with card. So if you see, we are using, so we don't need to write all the CSS, same CSS. So if you see, this card has the same CSS, this card has the same CSS, so we are not repeating the code. Okay, we are reducing the code. So now let's see if we can create another card. So I'll create another card. So I'll just create a div element. So this div element is the most important element, so we use as a container. So inside the div element we can add all our content. Okay, so that's the important element. So I'll just I'll add a class to card, maybe. Okay, so we just added a card here. So let's add another div here. I will just create another div. So I will add a class to project. Okay, so we want projects. Okay, project. Okay, so we'll add 3 projects here. First of all, let's write the styling for the project class. So I'll just create the project class which we already defined there inside the HTML. Okay, so what I will do, I will just change the, okay, let's say I set the height to 180 px and width to 180 px, and then background color to, okay, you might find all of these properties and all repeating again and again, but you know the point here is to like see the process, like how do we create all this stuff, like how do we think and create what we just thought. So let's see if it works. So I'll just reload. Okay, so nothing worked. Why nothing worked? Okay, so project, that's okay, you might okay, we need a typo here, that's why, silly typos. Okay, so I don't know if you could see here. Okay, let me just set it to 7733ff. okay, 7733ff. okay, if you see now, I have created a card here, another card. This is for the project. So what I will do, I will inside our project, I will add the title. Let's say I will add h2. Here's, this is the title of the project. This is the title of the project. Then I will add a p tag with like description. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this looks good. Okay, I'll change the background color. The color is not looking good, so I'll change the background color to something else. I'll set to F2. This works. Okay, so now, okay, so we have created the project. Okay, I will add the border so that we can clearly see what's going on. Okay, so I will add the border to solid, and then I will add 2px. Okay, so here is the border. Okay, so let's create these 3 elements. So we just created one element, so we will just create another 2. But wait, we forgot to add a link here. So if this is our project, we want to show it, we want to add a link here. So what we will do, we will add a anchor tag here, but to anchor tag we will add a class as link. So I'll just say view project or something like that, maybe it will work, and I will create a class name as link. So .link. What I will do, I will just create it like a button. Okay, so I will just say background color to 7733ff. okay, then I will add color to white. Then I will add some padding like 4px. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we got a button like here, but this doesn't look like button because let's make it a little more, like padding to 8 px, and then let's add some border radius to it, border radius of 5 px. Also I will change the font here, font. Okay, so let's change the font size to 20 px. Okay, so now this looks good. So this is the title of the project, this is a little description, and there is a link to project. So I'll just reduce this to 18, maybe 20 is very big. Okay, so this looks good. So now what we'll do, we'll just create, like this is a project, so we'll create 3 more like this. Okay, so I'll just copy this and then paste it and then paste it. Okay, so I have created 3 projects here, but if you see, all these are horizontally aligned. Okay, so what we want here, we want all these elements to be like this. Okay, so what I will do, I will use the flex property here. So if we have a card here, let's create another div with classes projects. Okay, so the code here might look messy right now, but don't worry, you will understand it. I will try to make you understand it. So I have created a class. So what this project class will do, it will align all the elements in line. So I will create a class name projects, and then I will use the display flex property. So what display flex property, like it's like okay, so let me show you first what it does. Display flex, and then the next property is flex direction. Okay, so what flex property is, like we can align horizontally or either vertically. So if you set the property display flex, and then you can set the flex direction to either row or either column. So now if you say, I'll say if to column, it will remain the same because it is actually same. So now what if I set it to row? So all the items will be in a row. Okay, you see. Okay, this is what I was talking about. So let's align these items center. So what I will do, I will just add a justify content property, and I will add a center. Okay, so now all these are in center. Also let's add h2 a heading for our project. Like let's create a h2 tag and write here projects. Okay, okay, but this is we made a mistake here. We don't want it inside the project, we want this inside the card tag. Okay, now oh my god, I messed up everything. So what did I do? What wrong did I do? Oh, same silly mistakes, I tell you. Okay, so we will add h2 of here, which will say projects. This should work now. Okay, something is wrong here. So here we have h2 title description. Okay, now everything is working fine. Okay, so we have created the exact structure like this. We have created a navbar, we have created an image. Okay, so we created the links, we created about page, we created projects. Now the final part, which is the form. Okay, so we learned about the input elements. So what we will do, we will just add same, we will do the same, we will create a card and we will add input elements to it. Okay, so let's create another card. Okay, So I'm using the same reusable class here again and again. So I'll add class equals to card, and then now what we want here inside this card, we want an input element. So we will add like, so it's like we will create it as a newsletter form. Okay, so I'll just add a heading to newsletter. Okay, so okay, WS newsletter. Okay, let me see. I don't want to stop hosting. Okay, so I'll add a newsletter here, and then what I will do, I will create an input element. So let's say I created this input element. Let's see what we see here right now. Okay, so we have created a newsletter, but something is wrong. We made card inside a card. So I'll just cut it. That's why we should indent the code, which I'm not doing here very well. So let's see. Okay, so now we have created a newsletter, and there is an input element also, but this looks very small. So what I will do, okay, we need another input element, so we'll just create another input element. Okay, there are two of them, and then there will be a button. So I will button, for that I will just create we'll use the a tag, and I will just add the class of link. So we should use a button, but I have already created a link like button, so that's why I'm using this. So we'll write here join. Okay, so this looks good to me, but we don't want a very small input element, so we will style them to, like, we will just select the input elements, and what we will do, we will just change the height and width. So I'll just change the height to 20 pixels maybe. Okay, 20 I said, and width to 200 px, and so okay, that's good. 30 px. Okay, so there is another attribute for the input element, like if you see here, we don't know like what is this for. Okay, so we can add either a label to it, like here you should add your name here, your email ID here, or something like that, but we will use another attribute, which is the placeholder attribute. So what placeholder attribute is like, what it will do, so we will just go to input element, and in that we will add a placeholder attribute to placeholder. Okay, don't make typos like me. Placeholder. So I will just add a placeholder, and then I will add here, like, you should write your name. Okay, so I will do the same with second input also, but here I will add your email. Okay, so now let's see. So you can see we have a placeholder, so this is not here, so you can still type here, but this is for the accessibility, like this is for better user interface, because this doesn't look good. We'll just improve it a little by adding a little more styling. So I will change the font size here to 22 px right now. That will make it a lot. Okay, 22 is very good. For that we need to do this 40 and do this 20. So now you will learn all this stuff, like all these relative values, like I'm putting it like 20 px, 25 px, all this stuff. So you learn all this by practice. Okay, and it's like trial and error. Like you do something, you try something, and then if it works, it works. If it not, you find another way to do it. Okay, so we have created this, but I don't want this to look like this. Okay, so if you see our image, we want this like in a column type, so we will use the same flex property. So for that, let's create okay, for that let's create another div. Okay, and I will add a class like form. Okay, I could, rather than doing this, I will just create a form element. Okay, so that will be a better way to do that. So that's a form. So, and then I will style the form element. What I will do, I will just set it to display flex, and then the flex property, flex direction to column. Oh my god. Now let's see. So let's see, all this is inline, but it's not centered, so I'll add text align center property. So I'll add center here. So even if that not works, we'll add justify content property. That's a better way to do that. Okay. So justify content will make sure all our content is centered. Okay, still it is not centered. Okay, let's see why. Okay, I get a form element. Okay, the interaction is column, display flex. Let's try align items. And center. Okay, so this works now. Okay, so okay, wait, so the button is very small here because we didn't have added a width to it. So if you see, where is the link class? Okay, so what I will do, I will add width to like 80 px maybe. So, okay, so now it works. So let's add a little bit margin to all these things. Okay, so for the input, I will change the background color to something else for better user interface. Also, I will add a little bit border radius. Okay, so border radius of 5 px maybe. So reduce this 40 px to 35 px and width to 250 px. Now, okay, there is a little border here. We don't want that border, so let's set it to 300 px and border as none. Okay, perfect. So now we have created a newsletter form here. So here is a name, email, and there is a button link also. So I'll just add a little bit margin to that also. Let's say margin of 40x. Okay, so now we are perfect. Okay, let's add a little bit margin to this also. We don't want this to be attached to each other. Okay, so we'll go to project. Okay, now I'll add a margin to it for every element, like 10 px maybe. 10 px will be very less, so we'll add, okay, that will work. Okay, so we are basically almost done. Let's see. Okay, so we created this part also, and this form also. Let's create the footer part, the last part. So for the footer, we can just use the footer tag, which is a semantic tag. Semantic tags are the tags which has a meaning, like the footer tag has a meaning that it is a footer. So I'll like what we should write. Okay, made in a DSC session. Okay, maybe whatever you can write here. and I will just style it here. So let's say footer, then I will set the direction, no, I will change the color to white, and then I will change the background color also. Okay, also I'll add some padding here of like 40 px maybe, I don't know if it will. Let's see. Oh, 40 px is very big, man. So just add a 20 px border and we are good to go. Okay, so wow, this looks amazing, man. So this is a simple portfolio we created. Okay, so there are few things we haven't seen. Okay, so what are other things you can do? Okay, so just like that, if this is a link, so you can add this is the home, so you'll add an index.html. Okay, so if you create another about page, so you can add about that. If you can add another link to a blog also, so like let's do that also. So let's say if I will get the link of my blog here. Okay, and I will add inside my here. Okay, so now you can see our portfolio. So if you click here, it will go through to the blog page. It will open the link in this window. Okay, so you can see it has opened. Okay, so now let's go back. Also, if you want to add, okay, so we haven't done that. So if you want to add, so these aren't complete yet. So these I tags, there should be a link tags. Okay, so what we will do, we will just create a links tag. Like I will just add a tag, and I will just place this inside a tag. So now this icon is now okay. This icon is now a link, but you can't see it because I have set the color to white somewhere. Okay, so what I will do, I will just add it to class of icon maybe, or I can select it using a.I. So I selected both, and then I will add the color to 7733 FF. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, so that worked. So we have created all the links. So we don't need this. Okay, so we don't need this. We don't need this icon class here because we have done this by selecting element itself. So you can similarly you can do all these links, put these link icons inside anchor tags. Okay, so I'll just cut this and I'll just paste it here. Similarly I will do the next one also. Let's remove this. Let's create an anchor tag and let's paste this. Okay, so now if you add the href attribute, hypertext reference attribute, to this anchor tag, you can use these icons as links also. Okay, so just like we did here you can add your LinkedIn portfolio or whatever GitHub Twitter links here by adding a hypertext reference. Okay, so I want to do that here. Okay, so our links are gone. Wait, why? Okay, because of that. So we set this to white background color, white color, so our links are also of that color, not white. So let's just fix that also. Let's say, and we add color to the link item, list item. It is still not working. Okay, so I guess we have to go with the icon way. Like I don't want to create the link. Okay, so now it's perfect. So we are almost done with our project here. So this is a really nice portfolio which we have created. Let's see the prototype, and we can see that this is exactly what I wanted to be. Okay, what I wanted to create. If I see what it will look in the browser when the size will be less, if you see, this is all mess, this is becoming all mess. Okay, so if you open this inside your phone, it will look like this, and we don't want to look like this. Okay, so what we will do, we will use there the media queries. So what media query is actually, so for different sizes of the viewport, we can specify our content to look different. So it will look different in mobile, look different in desktop. Okay, so that's where the media queries comes in play. So let's add the media queries. So syntax for media queries is like @media, then screen, and then okay, add the media screen, and then we will add the width for which we want to change. So I will add max width to 600 px. So I added max width to 600 px. Okay, wait, there are no curly braces there. Okay, so why we, so this is how we write media queries. So when the size of the viewport will be 600 px or less than 600 px, so the content will change. So how it will change, let's see. So now the same classes we can use, but let's see. So the card element, when it is open desktop, will look very bigger like this, but if you inspect it and you will see the look in the mobile, it's still the same. Okay, so what we will do, we will just change its width. So if you see here, width is 700 px. So what we will do, we will just change it. If the mobile size, if the size of the viewport is reduced, we will change the property of the card. Okay, so I'll just add card tag here. So here this is the syntax, and then inside this we can change all the classes or tags or elements, everything. So I just change to width to auto. Let's see if that works. So I change card width to auto. Okay, so this is better now. Okay, let me increase it a little bit. So okay, so oh my god, oh, so this is better, but this is not yet fixed. Okay, so I still want to fix this. So how we are going to fix it? Okay, even with this also, so all these project these are in flex direction row, so we will set it to flex direction column, so that it will take a little space. So I will just create the projects which we have already created. I will just change it for the size. Okay, so I will just set it to this display flex, then I will change the flex direction to column. Let's see. Okay, so this is perfect. Okay, also I will add styling to the project class. So there is a margin there, so I will add the margin to auto. So that will make our projects in center. Okay, so what if you have 20 px? It's already 20 px, I guess. Okay, but let's add the justify content property inside of this. Again, no justify content, we'll add align items. Okay, so we set the align item to center, so now all the items are in center. Okay, so now it's looking better in mobile also. Let me just make it healthy. Okay, so this look great. Okay, so this will look great in mobile also and desktop also. So that was the point of using the media queries. Okay, so we are almost done. Now let's just host our portfolio. So here comes a very interesting part, which is Netlify. So you don't need to know a lot of stuff for hosting. So for the front end part, there are few services, like there is Netlify, there is Vercel. Also you can host it on GitHub also. So okay, so let me see my internet search. Okay, now it might work. Please work, man. Oh, wow. What's happening? Okay, yes. Oh, finally. So we have opened the Netlify. I'm already logged in. So you can either import a new site from the Git, or you can upload. Okay, so you can either without using a Git, you can either drag and drop here. Okay, so I will just make it a little smaller. I will just okay, wait, let's make it bigger. Okay, now what I will do, okay, so we are inside this folder, so I will close this. So there is an index.html file. So if you are uploading your content on the Netlify, the first there should be an index.html file. So without that, your web page won't be hosted properly. So I have this portfolio which we created right now. Okay, so what I will do, I will just drag and drop here, and boom, let's see what happens. So yes, so the site is being deployed. Oh yes, it is deployed right now. So if you see, just within seconds the site is deployed on Netlify. So if you go to this URL, you can find our site live on the internet. Wow. Also you can change the site settings. You go to site settings, change site name, and I will change it to like demo dash portfolio. Maybe it might already have. Okay, somebody has already taken this. Okay, so I will say demo 102, maybe. Yes. Okay, so now the site is on demo102.netlify.app, not on this URL. You can see that here. Okay, perfect, man, perfect. So site is hosted. So this is the simple way how you would host a site. There is, but now as we have hosted it now, so if you want to make some changes to it, we just need to edit it and we need to upload it again. So we won't do that. What we will do, we will import it from GitHub. So first let me go to inside the portfolio folder, then I will git bash here. So git bash is a tool, it's like a command line tool. Okay, so what I will do, I will use few simple commands. Okay, this might not make sense to you if you haven't learned about Git and GitHub, but I will try to make it simple. So I will just initialize a repository. So what I will do, I will just git init. So git in this command, it will initialize the Git repository. So now there is a repository created locally inside my computer. Okay, but I want to host it here. Okay, so here are the instructions that you want to do. So I will just first commit, like first commit. Okay, so I will write the command at git commit. So we are first time doing this, so I will write as a commit as first commit. So this is a message which says what this commit is all about. Okay, so I just committed it. Okay, so if you see on branch master initial commit these are the untracked files. Okay, so why these are untracked files? Because these are not uploaded in our repository locally also. So what you do, you just do git add and dot. So what it will do, it will add all the things in our repository. So if you see now git status, so we have all the files here. Okay, so no commit set, and also we have all the files uploaded. Okay, so now I will just say git commit -n uploaded files. You will see this commit history on your GitHub also. Okay, so what's the next step? So next step is to add the add the git branch as main branch. Okay, so we are adding main branch, so you just need to paste it here. So the main branch is created. Now the next step is to add the remote origin. So our repository is created locally inside our computer, so we want to host it on a GitHub, so we need a remote origin which is on the internet. So for that we add a git remote add origin command. So these are simple steps. Okay, so it is created right now. Next step is git push origin master. We want to push our code. So if you see, like here, we don't have any code uploaded here. Okay, so once we git push, everything will be there right here. So I will git push origin. Okay, wait, if it is master or main, oh my god, git push origin main. Either it used to be master, but it's changed now. So now git push origin main. So what it will do, it will push this code to the GitHub. So it will take a little time. Okay, yes, so all done. So now we can see all the code in the demo portfolio GitHub repository. Yes, here it is. So if you see all our commits, so there is one commit, that is uploaded files. So this is the commit which we did. We changed, so now we can change something and then we can push this code to this repository. And now let's host it on the GitHub using GitHub. So what I will do here, I will go to Rutik Wankhade's team. I will get new site from Git and GitHub. So it will do some authentication or authorization, whatever that it's okay. So it is authorized. So the next step is I just also so I want to host. Okay, where is DSC SIT, man? MCC SIT is the team code that is there. Oh, I need to add another. Okay, so I haven't added DSC SIT, so that's why I am adding DSC SIT. Okay, so I will import and request. So I need to write my password. Don't see, I am typing my password. Okay, so now we are in the DSC SIT. So there are few web portfolios for our repos. So here we see our repository demo portfolio right here, DSC SIT demo portfolio. So now we just need to do nothing and deploy our site. Okay, so now this way, this is another way. So this is the right way to do this. So I'll just go to site setting, I will change site name, and now I will change it to demo. Okay, what we have changed to demo 102, then we will set it to demo 103. Okay, sir. Okay, so what is the difference between this side and this side? So this is uploaded, the whole folder is uploaded in the Netlify server, but this is imported from GitHub. So now if I make any changes in the repository, if I if I make some changes, if I make changes to colors or anything, any changes to the code, what it will do, it will automatically deploy it to this site. Okay, so I can't make directly changes to this which I uploaded by drag and drop, but this is the right way to do this. Okay, so that's what the beauty of Netlify is. Okay, so you can see the code of our here is right here. You can see Okay. So before we end this session, okay, this is going to be very long, this is very long session, but before we end this session, let's see what Bootstrap is. Okay, so Bootstrap is the CSS library. Like, we wrote a lot of CSS here. Okay, so what Bootstrap helps us to write less CSS. So it's like a big giant CSS file, so which has already written some classes. So what we need to do, we just need to add the classes. Like, let's see the documentation here. So we just need to add this CSS file here. So we just copy paste it, just like we did with font awesome. We just add this Bootstrap files link tag here, and then if you go to the documentation of the component, you can create all the components just by using, like, if you want to create something like this, just go and add like these classes to your HTML, and boom, no need to write CSS. So, but as a beginner, I would suggest you to not use not use Bootstrap when you're starting out, because you need to understand like what actually CSS does. Okay, so if you are starting out, don't use Bootstrap initially. First learn what CSS does, first learn to do it manually, then you can use Bootstrap and the predefined classes here. So you can create all the things, like even if you created the card, so you can create like this just using all these classes. So there are classes for margin, padding, all these. So that's what Bootstrap is. Okay, so what's next now? So we are almost done with our session, so let's see what's next. So what I want is you to try this, whatever we build this, just check out our code on GitHub, and you will understand and go through it, try to replicate it, create your own portfolio, post it on Netlify, and show us like share with us like what you build. So that's it. So that's almost the end of the session. Yeah, so we are active in all the social medias like Twitter, we have DSC SIT, Instagram, LinkedIn, and now YouTube also. So this session will be uploaded on YouTube, so follow us for more updates and for upcoming sessions. Also you can connect with me on Twitter. I'm mostly active on Twitter, so that's my username, like Wankhade Rutik. Also, I would like to thank you, the DSC lead Ashish, for encouraging me to do this session. Also, I would like to thank Amit and Akshay for like brainstorming their ideas with me. So it's been a really great time for me. Like, I even learned a lot, and I hope you all have learned a lot of stuff in this session. So that's it. Wish you very good luck. Happy learning.